Fox News contributor and former CIA station chief. I just want to put up al-Saadi's charges up on the screen because I think it's important to remind everybody that this wasn't just some nut job who just got excited and wanted to take out the president's daughter. This was somebody who was facing some serious charges and was a serious operator here, Dan. How close do you think this guy would have gotten to Ivanka or the Trump family had we not caught him in Turkey?
Well, he had conducted surveillance and he posted that on the internet. He was very active in social media. So that in and of itself, if we're watching, and we were, certainly was a tip-off to law enforcement, intelligence services in Turkey. It really shows the way that our Turkish partners can be a force multiplier for our counterterrorism operations. But Mohammed al-Saadi, a terrorist member of Kata'ib Hezbollah, which is an Iraqi proxy for Iran, a proxy terrorist group for Iran, and he had established a travel agency which gave him cover to travel globally to conduct terrorist operations, and we've got a full case against him. The concern that I have going forward, to get to your point, is he wasn't operating alone. I'm quite sure that he was part of a larger network, and I'm quite hopeful that our intelligence agencies, specifically my old the agency where I served at CIA, is working with our foreign partners to track down others in this network so that we can detect the threats and preempt them before any harm is caused.
Well, I think you make a great point because people tend to forget just how long the IRGC's tentacles are, right? Iran's proxies are all over. We think about them overseas in the Gulf, right? Just being mischievous out there, causing chaos out there. But they have the ability. Talk to us about that, of going after and threatening people here in the homeland. And they've tried that. And obviously, they've tried it with the president.
They have. They tried to assassinate President Trump. They tried to assassinate the Saudi ambassador years ago, back in 2015 when I was at CIA. This is all part of Iran's asymmetric warfare. We might have a tenuous ceasefire in the kinetic war between the United States and Iran, but Iran will never let up on these sorts of clandestine operations. And they don't just target U.S. officials and their families. Of course, they're targeting others whom they regard as enemies, including Israeli officials and their families.
You think, Dan, that Iran is that stupid to go after the president's daughter? I mean, they have to know what the repercussions would be.
No, I think this is the way, from their standpoint, I think they see this as leverage. And even though this threat was exposed and preempted before any harm was caused, I think Iran wants us to know that they have leverage and that we should factor that into any sort of negotiation that we might conduct with them. I think that's what they do. Now, when we show that we're capable of shutting down their terrorist operations with kill or capture operations, capture in this case, then we have the upper hand. But if we fail at any time, then obviously there's a serious price to be paid for that. We can't afford to fail even once.
It's a scary chess game that we're playing right now with real consequences, and I cannot imagine what Ivanka Trump or her family are thinking right now and feeling. Dan Hoffman, thank you very much for getting into that with us.
Thanks.
Great to see you.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.